I'm back. This has been a morning, a day, night, whatever. Um, if any of you, which according to what I'm looking at my top of my screen, nobody has hit the like button, nobody has hit subscribe button. I wish all people would hit the like and subscribe button. Just let me know somebody's out there watching. But anyway, this is old school food, Rants and Raves. Um, Continuing my situation, my wife is in hospice. I had went to work with the intention of leaving early, but thankfully I've got some compassionate people, bosses at my job. They totally know about my wife's cancer and said, look, if you want, you can go be with your wife. You don't have to be here. I think we'll be okay. You go be with your wife. So I am thankful to both my bosses, and get this, I have two bosses named Olivia. Two bosses named Olivia. What are the chances? I mean, what are the chances to have two bosses with the same first name? At any rate, thank God for them. Thank God for them. My wife was a bit concerned about the situation of me switching up jobs, um, because of the situation with me having to work the hours that they're giving me. And if she got sick, say during a weekday, which is the case right now, she's worried that they might get mad and not like me leaving and fire me. But that it's nothing like that. They are totally understanding and compassionate, and I thank God for both Olivias. That sounds like a sitcom. I don't know. What would you call something like that? If you had two bosses with the same name, the same first name, what would you call that? That sounds like a comedy, or it could be. I know what. It could be a action. It could be a science fiction or action show. Olivia and Olivia, or I don't know. This sounds like something that, or even a comic book. I don't know. But at any rate, I thank God for both of my bosses, Olivia. I thank God for their compassion and their understanding and totally allowing me to be able to skip today. I didn't want to leave one of my coworkers hanging. I was a bit worried about somebody not being there for one of my coworkers. He leaves generally at 3, and for the next 2 hours or so, I would have been bam, 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 slammed. And thankfully, they said they had someone that would come up there and help him out, so I didn't have to worry about missing work today. This will be the first time on this job that I've missed work, but for a good reason. If you can call have a loved one fighting cancer a good reason to miss work, and it's not. I'm just sick and damn tired of this cancer, and I'm dealing with it as best I can. It's stressing out certain people in my family. Um, I'm trying to deal. Um, at any rate, I'm on my way to hospice. I found out what room that she's in, my wife. So I'm on my way to hospice to go um, get her. I mean, not get her, but sit with her for a bit, and then I'm gonna stop back from the grocery store and pick up some groceries. Well, not groceries, but I'm gonna pick up some food, probably some chicken and maybe a couple of sodas and a bag of chips, so that my daughter and her kids can eat. And anyway, it's been you can tell it's been a rather stressful couple of hours. I tried to get some sleep overnight, while at the same time trying to stay awake and listen for her if she's in pain, my wife. And there were a couple of times she was sweating and in pain, and They came in and gave her medication and also some nausea medicine, but now she's back at hospice, and hopefully they can treat the symptoms. I wish they could just treat the cancer itself. Speaking of which, alluding to my earlier thing that I did, I'm not sure what to call it, my webcast or whatever, alluding to what I said earlier in another video. How many of you have loved ones that are going through cancer, or you yourself are faced with cancer? How are you dealing with it? How do you cope? For my wife, her only coping mechanism outside, I guess, of us, the family, is God. And like I said, I was a little miffed. I was a little angry. I've been a little angry at God because I felt like, you know, I know that God can do any and everything. He can think it and it come to pass. I guess I'm just a little miffed that I don't see her being healed. There have been a couple of times when, despite my sinfulness, that I have asked God, why? Why can't you just heal her? Why can't you just take this off of her and let her go back to being herself, being the way that I remember her? And I know God does things in his own time, in his own way, according to his will. And I get that. I totally get that. There's not a whole lot I can do to change the situation. All I can do is just deal with it. But for those of you who are going through cancer or know someone who's faced with cancer, how do you cope? How do you face the possibility, the very real and serious possibility of death? To be totally honest, I know that I'm backslidden from a spiritual point of view. In the eyes of the Lord, I'm not where I should be. Not to mention the fact that death scares me. It shouldn't scare me if I heard someone say the only time death should scare you is if you don't know the Lord, which is true. If you don't put your trust in God, you're not going to find any other way to deal with what you're dealing with. Anyway, my bus is coming, and I'm not going to even have time to. You're not going downtown, are you? Yeah, the other one said they were behind too. They weren't going downtown. They were going to the outlets.
Well, then they're outbound. I'll be back in about 25, 30 minutes.
All right. Give me a chance to go get change 4 or 5. All right. Thank you. As you can see, the buses here in Asheville, reliable as ever. Word of advice. If you're from another city in another state, don't come here. The reason being, if you don't have a car, you're screwed. Basically put, you are screwed. If you do not have a car, you are screwed. Because the buses here suck. I mean, they suck. They're never on time. You got a few drivers who don't care whether or not they're on time. We got one driver who, I don't know if he's got PTSD or whatever. I don't know what his problem is, but he's never on time. And when he comes, he drives like, oh, he's got all day to go somewhere, and he doesn't. Anyway, don't come here if you're from another city, another state. My advice to you is don't come here, because you will be waiting forever on the buses here. The bus service here sucks beyond any and all measure. I've lived in cities where I lived in big cities, even my hometown, Omaha, which I don't consider much bigger than this dump. The only difference is before we left there almost 15 years ago, the buses used to run on Sunday. They didn't have to do a debate or argue about running on Sunday. They just ran. They knew there were people who had to work on Sunday, and they ran late. Here, after 5 or 6 p.m., you're screwed if you don't have a car. So my advice to anyone who is thinking about coming here to move, don't. Because the buses here, like I said, suck. If you don't have a car, you are going to be hurting. And you might not make it here. Anyway, getting back to my original question about people who face cancer, how do you deal with it? How do you cope? What are the mechanisms that you use? I trust that you have a strong faith in God and not in anything outside that, because anything outside that sucks. Everything outside of God sucks. And that's not to knock people who believe what they want to believe, but I know for personal experience, without God, you can't make it in this world. Even I would be a fool to think otherwise. At any rate, like I said, get back to me, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what your comments are, what your thoughts are. Anyone who's been through a situation like what I'm facing with my wife, and I still believe that God will heal her of this, maybe not the way I want. I'm hoping he'll heal her, period, and she'll be back to the way she used to be. I miss that. I miss having my wife when she was vibrant and outgoing, and now this damn cancer has done things that I wouldn't wish this on my worstest enemies. Anyone who's ever faced cancer or has gone through cancer, believe me, it is not something that I will relish on anyone. And I hope and pray that if you have had cancer and you have survived it, then I will definitely keep you in my prayers. But and congratulations if you managed to survive going through it. Right now I'm over here to go get change because I don't have change to catch the bus. So I gotta come over here and get change. And let's see. I'm a little tired, so forgive me. But I have, like I said, been through the work. So in the meantime, I'm trying to just think of ways that I can deal with the situation and not let it get me down. Because believe me, this is not a picnic for me. But how do y'all people deal? How do you all deal? How do you deal? What makes you hold on when everybody else is falling apart? Anyway, I'm getting ready to wait for the next bus because unfortunately, I am gonna have to wait on the next bus because unfortunately, as you can see, my phone is a bit crazy acting. You have to excuse me if I sound like I'm a little out of sorts and stuff. I'm just a little tired and stressed out from things going on the way they've been going with this damn cancer, and then having to worry about trying to get to where I gotta go. So when I get there, I'm probably not gonna have much time to spend with my wife like I want, and then turn around and gotta get back home and bring dinner home. Cause I told my daughter I would bring home dinner unless she's gonna cook, and that's fine too. Being my check wasn't very much to begin with, and I gotta put away part of the rent. I gotta pay my share of the rent, and anyway, like I said, just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff. But anyway, if you're watching it, hit the like and subscribe button. Post your comments, critiques, compliments. Let me know that somebody's out here watching this and is paying attention despite my rambling or seeming mindless words. I hope they're not all mindless. I hope I'm not sounding like I'm completely rambling. It's just, this is old school fool, rants and raves. And it seems I've been doing a lot more ranting than raving. And what little raving I've done, it's also sounded pretty much the same as my rants. Like I'm venting, like I'm spewing out my frustration, dealing with stuff that I never dreamed I'd deal with. And it's been tough. It's been very tough. It's been a nightmare in that I feel like being here in North Carolina, a place that I'm not happy to live in. My wife moved here, I found out some decades ago. I think she brought her family over from South Carolina to here. And what on God's earth she saw in this place, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not happy here. And I've been told a number of times, so if you're not happy here, you can always move. And I'm like, how am I going to move without my family? That would be kind of selfish on my part to just pack up and go while I'm trying to get my family to see that this is not a place like this. Years ago, my daddy said, and if I remember correctly, I quote, he says, sometimes you gotta pack your bags and make your luck elsewhere. Sometimes you got change your situation in order to get better, in order to do better. You can't always stay in a place that's not good for you, that's not healthy for you, that's not doing anything for you except bringing you down. I'm gonna be honest. I consider North Carolina a rich, white bread retirement town. It's geared for white folks who got money. And I don't mean to sound racist, but I'm being honest. Economically speaking, we see what's going on here. I see what's going on here. And what saddens me, what really makes me mad is that the powers that be that actually run this town behind the scenes are now about to change. They're now about to stop doing their stupid stuff. They're now about to turn around this place for the better for no one. It's not in their best interest, i.e. money. It's not in their best interest to change things for the better. They don't want things to change for the better, and it angers me because, like I said, I noticed all these townhouses and condominiums and fancy schmancy apartment buildings going up. I was on my way to the credit union this morning. I noticed that this morning there was a new condominium that they're getting ready to put up over there by ballpark, by what is that? McCormick Field, which I think is wrong. And according to the sign where they had the construction going on, it said luxury living, something like that, in the 600s. Wow. 600 what? $1,000 or $600? We'll say for the argument's sake, 600. If you're going to pay that much a month to live in something that I feel is a waste, I mean, what right does anyone have to live better than the next person? We're stuck here in a damn place where there's drugs, there's violence, there's poverty, there's hunger, there's despair. There are a few people here fighting to turn it around, but then that's anywhere you go. But the ghetto is the worst. And by the way, thank you, United States of America, for creating ghettos, because we all know now the truth, albeit some of us didn't see it right away, but we all know now what the truth is. The truth of the matter is ghettos were originally designed to house certain undesirables that society considered to be just that, undesirable. First, it started with supposedly the Jewish people, then with other minorities, i.e. black people. And now you have all this despair, all this poverty, all this craziness going on, and very few of us can get out of it. I want my family out of here. We're praying God we can get out of here this month, because next month they're talking about putting strips in people's homes to stop them from smoking in your own home. And that's another thing. This is another, you can call it whatever, rant, rave, whatever. What right does housing, i.e. the government, i.e. read between the lines, Satan, what right does the government have to tell you what you can and cannot do in your own home? Now, I don't smoke, but I'm not going to tell someone what they can and can't do in their own home. And they're talking about putting these damn strips in people's houses and to monitor if they smoke. And if they smoke, they can throw them out. Who the hell does the government think they are? Who the hell do the people of public housing think they are? Yeah, I'm saying it to you. How dare you tell people they can't pay outrageous rent to live in this, I'm gonna call it what it is. You're making them pay outrageous rent to live in this shithole, to deal with crap that shouldn't have to deal with. Our kids don't feel safe. I'm afraid to let my grandkids outside for fear that somebody's going to be shooting or carrying on. I'm tired of it. We got these drug dealers out here that doing any and everything under the sun. I even got one on my wife's side of the family that's doing some stuff that I'm not happy with. So I started locking the door so that they don't come over there and be having traffic in or out of our house. Sad but true. I'm just being honest. But what right does the government have to come in here and to tell you what you can and can't do in your own home? What right does Uncle Sam, I mean, y'all are sheep if you go along with this. You are basically sheep if you accept this. Because you know what's next? What's next is, oh, I don't know, let's demand people go to church on Sunday rather than the Sabbath. Let's mess with people who we don't want, that don't fit in our idea of what we think America is. I mean, take a look at the history of this country. The Native Americans were here first, various tribes, Ogallala, the Sioux, the Comanche, Cheyenne, whatever. They were all here first. White man comes over here and he destroyed everything that they basically had to live on. And here's the kicker. Had it not been for the Native American tribes that were here before the white man came, when the white man first came, guess what? They would have died within their first couple of months. When winter hit, they would have froze to death, starved to death, God knows what. And how do we repay them? We throw them on reservations. We throw them on a little spot of land that we say, no, we don't want you living here. You live here, and we'll give that to you, and we'll take the rest. Now you know where the word Indian giver comes from. But at any rate, what right does the government have to tell you what you can and can't do in your own home? And that's what I want me and my family to avoid. We're trying to get out an affordable place for my wife and I and our 16-year-old to get away from all this craziness, because like I said, I'm not going to have Uncle Sam coming and telling me what to do. I have enough sin in my heart, too much sin, and you want to pile onto it by telling me what I'm going to do in my own home and stuff. That to me is wrong. That to me is just straight up plain wrong. The government has no right to tell you what you can do and not do. But yet there are people out here who are sheep, mentally, spiritually speaking, they're sheep, and they'll go along with whatever housing or the government says, and then they wonder why their lives are a lot worse than they are now. Well, they're about to get a lot worse, because guess what? You have Uncle Sam telling you you can't smoke in your own house. What's next? I'll tell you what's next. It's going to come a little mark. It's going to tell you you can't buy or sell unless you have that mark. It's going to tell you what day you can go to church. So if you're a Muslim and you believe in worshiping God on Friday, guess what? That's out. If you're a Seventh-day Adventist and you better go to church on Saturday, that's out. If you're atheist and you don't believe in God at all, guess what? That's out too, because they're going to make you go to church on a Sunday, which has never been designated in the Bible as the day of worship according to the word of God. But believe you me, that's what's going to happen. And a lot of you are asleep. A lot of you don't want to wake up and see it for what it is. You don't even want to try to pick up your Bible. Like I said, you can hear in the background all the foolishness going on, and that's why I'm trying to get my family out of here. I'm trying to get away from all this craziness. It's ridiculous. I don't see how people live like this. So here it is. It's crazy town, and I'm trying to not be one of the inmates running the asylum. I'm trying to be the guy that's moving his house that's 6 doors down from the nut house to a different neighborhood. I don't want to be one of the inmates running the asylum, because quite frankly, you can't tell who's crazy and who ain't crazy. So there it is in a nutshell. It's crazy town, and we're trying to escape being infected. But anyway, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. The name of this program is Old School Food, Rants and Raves. I'm waiting on the bus to get to go see my wife, sit with her for a bit, and then I gotta go pick up dinner. My check was not quite what I had hoped it would be, but it beats not having no money at all. But still, my goal is, now I'm gonna try to do it next week. I'm gonna try to put in an application at some places I heard are hiring that will pay more. Because right now, to be totally honest, I can't make it on what I'm getting. I thought I could, but it's not much different than where I was at Ingles. I'm grateful for the job. It's just right now, the only way I can see myself making it really my own business. All you young people, when you hit this blog or website or whatever, when you hit this program, think about this. It's better to have your own than to be subjected to somebody else's whims. Stay in school, get a skill. If you don't want to go to college, learn a skill. Some schools, some high schools I know, wood shop, what they call it. When I was in school, it used to be called a wood shop, where you had to learn how to make things by hand, make things out of wood by hand. Learn a skill so that you can be able to make your own money and not have to kiss someone's derriere to do it. My hat's off to people who are not blue collar, but no collar. For those of you who don't quite know what that means, I was watching a TV show called Survivor a few years back, and they had an episode where it was white collar versus blue collar versus no collar. And no collars are basically the ones that do what they want, that have a passion or several passions, and they pursue it and they do it because they love it, and that's how they make their living. And that's where I'm trying to get to be right now. I'm trying to get to be where I can have my own thing this summer, where I don't have to depend on Uncle Sam or anybody else telling me what to do and what not to do, and having to worry about a paycheck, living from hand to hand or mouth hand to mouth or paycheck to paycheck. Like I said, young people stay in school, listen to your family, do something with yourselves besides walking around here walking around with your pants hanging off your butt or whatever. Do what you gotta do to make it you know in this world, because if you don't, nobody's going to make it for you. um at any rate, if you're watching this, hit that like button, hit subscribe button. I'm on YouTube, Old School Fool, Rants and Raves. um Hit that like button and tell me what you think. um I really want to get your feedback and your comments about stuff. um I'm getting ready to call it 'cause I'm a little tired this morning. I mean, this afternoon. But I will see you people when I see you. And yo, take it easy. Keep my wife in prayer. Pray for all the people who are struggling, who are suffering with illnesses, diseases like cancer and AIDS and not what. We need to pray, people. I know I need to pray. I need to ask God to turn my life around. I haven't exactly been faithful. I've been caught up in a lot of stuff that I shouldn't gotten caught up in. But like I said, pray for pray for all those who are fighting cancer and other illnesses. Um, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of watching people suffer, struggle, and just try and keep their head above water. And that's hard to do in this world, especially sin cursed earth, with everybody doing whatever they want and nobody has any regards whatsoever to the consequences that they're going to have to pay. At any rate, I'm fitting to get out of here. I will see you later. Hopefully, it will be with good news about my wife. And peace out.